but, stepping on a leaf kills organisms as well.
But stepping on a leaf doesn't kill a human being.
But it's not a human being yet. It's an organism. It's a fetus.
Isn't it a human fetus?
Yeah, but it's not fully human yet.
How does someone or something become fully human?
When it comes out.
Why?
I'm not a scientist.
So we're in the heart of Brisbane in Queensland, which is the abortion capital of Australia. The highest number of abortions per capita happen right here in Queensland, higher than any other Australian state. Abortion is legal up until birth in Queensland, and a baby who survives their abortion does not have a legislative right to care. The Queensland Premier, David Christodoulou, last December banned the topic of abortion from even being legislated against in the Queensland Parliament. That hasn't happened anywhere else in the world. And so I thought he might have banned it in the Parliament, but let's hit the streets. Let's talk to ordinary Queenslanders about what they think about Queensland being the abortion capital. Come and join me for the ride. What's your view on abortion? Are you for it, against it, pro-choice, pro-life?
I'm for abortion. I think if a woman doesn't want to have the child, it's their body, so it's their choice to abort the baby.
To be honest, regardless of, it's my body and it's my choice, so I'm completely for it.
Are you for abortion, against abortion, or somewhere in between?
I'm for abortion.
Okay.
Everyone should have their choice to make women should be able to make their own choices for their bodies. It's not a man's place to choose, and am I allowed to swear on camera? Because I would say it's effed up for a man to say no to a woman's being able to choose to do that or not.
I am for abortion just because I myself have a big fear. I'm not financially ready to have a child. I don't want to have a child, and I want that option available to me if I were to be assaulted, raped, all the other stuff.
For example, I don't want to have kids, and it's my choice. And if I ever fall pregnant, I will have an abortion.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think that it's better not to bring kids in the world if you're not going to be happy. Like, there's so many kids out there that need families that love them, and whatever reasons you have not to have babies or to have babies, whatever, I think is personal, and I don't think that anybody should decide on that but you.
Yeah, I see you got like a baby turtle necklace, and there's a lot of work being done to protect like turtle eggs.
Yeah.
Do you support that? Like protecting
Yeah, but I
turtle...
don't think that's related to human babies.
Do you think turtle eggs deserve more protection
No,
than
it's not
human
that.
babies?
It's still completely different because that's to protect the species.
But these are human beings and they have human rights.
Well,
so pregnancy goes for 40 weeks. Is there a point where you would go, abortion shouldn't happen?
It's not up to me. It's all about the women. It's all the female's choice. I wouldn't say it should be up to the female to decide throughout the entire 40 weeks.
What about straight after birth? Is it still the woman's choice whether she lets that baby live or die?
Yeah, I mean, it's her. It really changes her entire life.
Yeah, but here you're dealing with a baby that's born, so a baby that's 2 weeks old. Is it the mother's choice whether the baby lives or dies, or somebody else's? Does a man get a say?
I mean, it affects her. It's her child. I would say it really depends on her. I mean, yeah.
So you'd be okay with killing a 2-week-old after birth?
I would say yes. They should be like a cutoff. Like at a given point, it should be illegal too. So the first few weeks should be okay since it hasn't yet developed into a full human being. But then, yes, I feel like there should be a cutoff. But after that, it should be just, have the child.
Pregnancy goes for 40 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you think there should be a stage where there's a cutoff for accessing an abortion?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. What about in situations where the baby is healthy and could just be induced alive? Do you know the method for a late-term abortion?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
So you'd be okay with killing a 2-week-old after birth?
I'm
If
not
a mother wanted to, if the woman wanted to?
I mean, if it's going to ruin her life, potentially. I'm not sure if I would. I don't really agree with killing by any means, but I'm not it's the female's choice. I didn't know you could abort after the baby's born. I thought you could.
No, I'm just doing a thought experiment there. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm just doing a thought experiment. I'm just saying, what's the difference? So you don't agree with killing, but that is what abortion is anyway. During a pregnancy, to have an abortion, you have to kill the baby.
No, it's a fetus. It's not alive yet.
Well, what's the test of something being alive? It's whether it's growing, right? And
it's inside the womb, but it's not alive. It's an organism. But, stepping on a leaf kills organisms as well.
But stepping on a leaf doesn't kill a human being. Can I show you what a late-term abortion looks like? I've got a quick, it'll like really quick 30-second video. A long needle is inserted through the mother's abdomen into the uterus. Guided by the ultrasound, the abortionist injects a needle of potassium chloride into the left ventricle of the heart. Following feticide, the mother takes labour-inducing drugs. The mother then goes through labour and delivers her baby stillborn. The dead baby is immediately removed from the room and taken away. As the baby's death is a result of abortion, the baby does not receive a birth certificate or a death certificate. The mother receives $4,225 from the government as part of the stillborn parenting payment. If the mother and hospital decline a funeral or cremation, the baby is discarded as medical waste and placed in the bin.
That has to change.
Yeah.
They have to give it like a proper send-off, regardless of whether it's the mother is consenting or not. A proper send-off will be good.
What's your reaction to seeing that?
I still think that like if it's illegal, then there's no problem with it. I think they're allowed to have an abortion if they want, regardless of how far along they are.
Yeah, if it's legal. But what about if you're living in a situation where like it's legal to have black people sitting at the back of the bus and white people get to sit at the front, or slavery is legal? Like just because something's legal doesn't mean it's right. Sometimes in human history we've had to make things illegal because we've realised, well, this one, it just like tramples over human rights. So I guess I'm asking you, in a late-term abortion, would you be supportive of a situation where you skip the injection, but you allow the mother to terminate a pregnancy, so she has to give birth? Like there's no other way to get a baby out after 23 weeks. Did you know that she had to give birth to her dead baby in a late-term abortion?
Yeah.
So what about a situation if you had a law that said you don't get to kill the baby, you can just give birth to the live baby, but you don't even have to see them. They can go, instead of the bin, they can just go to the NICU and then be placed for adoption. What do you think about that as a compromise?
I think that would work,
Yeah.
but I think it's up to the mother. So
Yeah,
whatever they want.
Yeah, but can I ask you about that? And you're very articulate, so it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Like we call killing a baby in utero abortion, but moments after birth we call killing a baby murder. What's the difference?
Well, the baby isn't out yet, so it's still like part of the mother's womb. So like it's still part of her.
But if we could get the baby out, like what I've described in a late-term abortion, without killing the baby, why is that not murder?
I don't know.
I wonder why, if you were going to go that far along, why you wouldn't go to gestation and have the baby adopted.
So I drafted a bill to that effect, which said you can terminate a pregnancy through all 40 weeks, but at the point in the third trimester from 28 weeks, the baby has a 96% chance of survival. You can't kill the baby. So I said you've got to skip the injection, you give the labour-inducing drugs, and the baby is delivered alive. So that's essentially saying, you know, from 28 weeks abortion is illegal, but you can still terminate the pregnancy. Do you agree with that?
It sounds like a good solution for the problem. Definitely,
Yeah.
Particularly if what the gender selection is messing with our statistics, isn't it?
Well, in certain ethnic communities, I mean, we saw in China with the one-child policy, it was just, they've got a demographic time bomb because this is boys who are being born. But why is it murder after birth and abortion before birth? It's the same thing, you're killing the baby. Why is it murder after birth?
No, I disagree with that. It's not the same thing.
Why not? What's different?
Because a fetus is not the same as the baby that is born.
What's different about them? What's the difference in a baby at 38 weeks?
Because even though they can feel pain, that is true.
Yeah.
But they're not a person who is born and who can think and who can reason. It's not the same.
But a newborn baby can't think or reason.
But it's different.
They can't think or reason until at least, you know, like you're talking years.
Yeah,
and
no, I understand what you mean, but are you trying to interview me about something, or are you trying to convince me about a point?
I'm just trying to probe some of the arguments, because often because I used to be pro-choice, and when I speak to people who are pro-choice, what I find is like through asking some of these questions, like, why do we have regulations around turtle eggs but not around human fetuses?
I mean, we should have regulations about everything. It's not like just go ahead and do something. But I'm a feminist and I believe in the right of my body.
Yeah.
And for me, it's a hard topic to discuss because I'm not gonna ever think of any situation when I'm gonna be against abortion. I will always be pro.
Let me see if I can think of one. So if you're a feminist, would you then it makes sense then that you'd be against killing a baby through abortion just because they're a girl? You'd be against that, right?
But again, as I told you, like, people who decide to get an abortion, it's not because it's going to be a girl or a boy. And then again, there are psychological aspects that had to be looked at.
Is it for any reason? So, like, I'm Indian, and India will have 6 million fewer girls born by 2030 because of sex-selective abortion. There's just like a cultural view that boys are better than girls.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if it's 14 weeks and they want to kill the baby because she's a girl?
Well, if the people that want to kill the baby is not the mother or person who's carrying the baby, I do not think they have a say in that.
But what if it is the mother and the father in Indian families?
I was going to say, then if that mother is not coerced into making that decision, doesn't want to have it, then that is honestly to their own disclosure. People don't have to know about that. It is still valid because that is the mother's want or the person's want.
But isn't it anti-feminist to kill a baby just because they're a girl?
Look, it is, but still that is that person's right as somebody who has their own bodily autonomy.
There should be regulations regarding that, because like if you are going to have an abortion and it's regarding like some mental issues that you've been having, it has to be assessed by specialists first. It's not going to be like, oh, it's just because I didn't want to have a girl.
So do you know
what I mean?
Do you agree that abortion should be illegal for sex selection?
I don't know if illegal, but it just doesn't make sense to me, at least, that you want to kill a baby because of the sex.
It happens. I'm telling you it happens. Would you support a law that said you can't do that?
I would support regulations, yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
But also...
So we're closer than we might have thought. But stepping on a leaf doesn't kill a human being.
But it's not a human being yet. It's an organism. It's a fetus.
Isn't it a human fetus?
Yeah, but it's not fully human yet.
How does someone or something become fully human?
When it comes out.
Why?
I'm not a scientist.
but isn't like a dog because it's a dog, and a human is a human because it's a human? Like, that's the biological makeup of a human being. So from the moment of fertilization, you have a zygote, then an embryo, then a fetus. And at all stages of that, if it's within a human being, you've got a human fetus.
Are you pro-abortion or anti-abortion in this?
Did you know that abortions can fail and a baby can survive that abortion?
No.
Okay, so in Queensland, 49 babies in 2022 survived their abortion. They don't actually have a legal right to care under the law, and so what that means is they're put on metal kidney dishes and they can be struggling to breathe, sometimes for hours. Like in one study, the average survival time was 32 minutes, but one baby survived for 4 hours. A couple of the cases we know of that I've found in coronial reports is like Jessica Jane, who survived her abortion. She was left on a metal kidney dish for 80 minutes. Another baby was found in a medical waste bin while still alive and breathing at Westmead Hospital. What do you think about those babies?
I don't know.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
But do you think if they survive...
if they survive, I guess they can live. But again, I just think it's up to the mother to choose whether they want to have an abortion or not. And I think it's as simple as that.
But if the abortion fails, do you think it's still up to them? If the abortion fails, do you think
I
it's
still
still
think
up
it's
to
up
the
to them, yeah. I do.
Then why is it not
it's their baby.
Okay, but then why is it not up to you with your 2-month-old child? Why is it not up to you what you do then?
I don't know. It's just life.
But if it's up to the mother because it's her baby and you've got a 2-month-old...
Well, if they've decided to have an abortion, then that's what they want. If they don't want the child, then they don't want the child.
So why is it abortion to kill a child in utero and murder after birth?
Because then that baby is in the world. It has been governmentally recognised, or even just society recognised, that that is your child, that is the next offspring of yours. It has become into this world, whether it's C-section, whether it's actual natural birth, but it is at that stage where it can then vocal cords, first breath of air, all of that amazing stuff.
But can't you see that that's essentially saying, well, because the establishment, because the powers that be, because government, corporations and our institutions recognise human rights being conferred at birth, therefore that person has human rights. And all of the greatest atrocities have occurred because one group of humans, usually the stronger ones, have said that group over there who are weaker and less powerful and have no voice don't have human rights. So if you think about civil rights, the fight for civil rights, or slavery, or even the Rwandan genocide when the Hutus said the Tutsis weren't human, aren't you just doing the same thing? Just being an apologist for a regime that
I
kills
don't
babies
oppose-
in utero because they don't have human rights, because we haven't conferred human rights on them?
I do not particularly care, because to me that is somebody that is still entirely dependent on the mother or the person to survive. And until they are born, that is all that they will be. So all of these genocides, all these human rights things, if the mother was killed, that child would not survive, that fetus would not survive. So until that point happens, you can't really compare the two. Because those people have already gained their sense of self. They have already been existing in the world for however many minutes, days, months, years that it was. They are their own people who have then been slaughtered by whatever war, whatever genocide that you are talking about. They are still human lives. They have names, they have families, they have their own experiences that shaped the friendship groups that they were in, the people that they hung out with, the places that they lived. Fetuses don't have that, so you can only compare them to a point. And it is very, I would say it is quite
he probably wants us to stop talking.
Yeah.
But I would say that in those circumstances that you've just described, if you lived through the Rwandan genocide or Nazi Germany or any of the greatest human rights atrocities, the indoctrination that occurred was that this group of people are subhuman, you know. So if you live through slavery, the reason we can have a man in chains is because we have a view that they're not a human being, they're not a category like us. And we're doing the same thing now to fetuses, as you call them. We're just saying, well, they're fetuses, they're not human.
until their birth.
Until their birth. And it's arbitrary, like that's an arbitrary line, because scientifically they're human from the moment of fertilization.
I thought you said that they were zygotes. And then they turned into embryos.
That's the state, but they're a human zygote. They're not like a puppy zygote or a dolphin zygote or a porcupine zygote. They're a human zygote because they've got two human parents.
Awesome. Well, until they become an actual born baby who has arms and limbs that are perfectly viable outside of the pregnancy period, that is where my opinion lies. Until then, I have no opinion.
Okay. But if we could get the baby out alive, would
Then
that be?
Yeah, then that should be an option. Equally. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Simon Peter.
Thank you.
You spoke really well. You know, you started this conversation by saying that you supported abortion through all 40 weeks in every circumstance. I guess I've just shown you a way that it could be illegal to kill the baby, but we could still end the pregnancy.
Yeah.
And you think that's something you could get behind?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for the discussion. Thanks for your openness to that. You know, you say that birth is when they get human rights. Why don't we birth those babies alive? They're viable. They could go to the NICU and get care. The mother could get care. She could go home and walk away from this. That baby could be placed in adoption. At the moment in Australia, if you want to adopt, you have to go overseas. There's no babies being born. They're all being aborted.
because the adoption system here works sucks.
So don't you think that would be a compromise?
It could be.
But in a late term situation, so after 20 weeks, if she has an emergency like preeclampsia or cancer, what they can do is the emergency C-section where they cut her abdomen and they get the baby out. That's quicker and safer than a late term abortion. You don't need to do a late term abortion for the mother's health.
I'm going to bail because I'm way far out of my
Yeah,
knowledge of understanding, and I'd like to not have this be recorded
Okay.
anymore.
All right. Thank you for your time. No, I understand. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the conversation.
Could you not
Yeah.
release that
Thank you.
about me?
So I've just finished hitting the streets of Brisbane, talking to Queenslanders about their views on abortion. What I was surprised about was the lack of knowledge around the laws, the fact that most of the people I spoke to didn't have any idea that you could have an abortion right up until birth. And there was almost universal ignorance on the issue or the plight of babies who survived their abortion and are then left to die. Most people had no idea. They were shocked. And when I told them about it, they said, well, we should do something about that. We should fix that. The other thing that I thought that was interesting is, you know, 9 out of 10 of people that I interviewed said that they were pro-choice. When I asked them what they thought about abortion, they said, yeah, I'm for it, I'm for that. But then when I got deeper and I started asking questions, so, you know, you're a feminist, are you for killing babies in utero just because they're girls? Or isn't this what we've done in the greatest human rights atrocities in our time? You know, the stronger party has killed the weaker party because of a view that they were subhuman. That has actually been something that was quite successful in these interviews. I found that people did start sort of little light bulbs going off in their head going, well, I am pro-choice, but yeah, I'm not okay with that. And so I sort of feel like that's a way forward for us. You know, for those of us who really want to build this movement, part of our goal has to be asking these questions and getting people to answer them. It is uncomfortable. It's hard being that person who forces another person to stay there and have that difficult conversation. But I really think that's what we've got to do. So if you like what's going on here, subscribe to this channel because we're going to be doing more of this stuff, because ultimately to make abortion unthinkable in Australia, it's one person at a time, conversation by conversation, and I need to do it with you guys. Thank you.